my immediate right is Chief Ruben Garcia with Lakeland Police Department. Next, Sheriff Grady Judge, Polk County Sheriff's Office. Fire Chief Doug Riley, Lakeland Fire Department. Major Roger Young, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. And then we finally have Chief Tony Stravino with Polk County Fire and Rescue. I'd also like to take a chance to acknowledge some of our elected officials that are here. So starting with the county, we should have Commissioner George Lindsay, Commissioner Rick Wilson, Commissioner Bill Braswell, Commissioner Martha Santiago, Commissioner John Hall. And I believe that we also have Deputy County Manager Bill Beasley. Moving on to the City of Lakeland, Commissioner Sarah McCarley, Commissioner Philip Walker, City Manager Tony Delgado, Assistant City Manager Emily Colon, and then I'm not forgetting him, but he should be making his way up here hopefully, our esteemed Mayor Bill Motz, please.
I look forward to this lunch every year because it's a chance to celebrate a gift we have in this county that is unlike lots of places. And it is the people that we have that protect us and rescue us on a day in and day out basis that's so easy to take for granted. And so that's what makes this lunch so special. So on behalf of the City of Lakeland and the commissioners, but certainly the citizens of Lakeland and extending to other cities within Polk County, thank you so much for being here to help celebrate this time. But thank you so much for giving your lives in a way that makes where we live a great place to be even greater. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mayor Mutz, and forgive me, I did miss somebody. I believe we have Judge Catherine Cumbie here as well. Are there any other officials that I missed? All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Our first presentation will be presented by Nancy Cars with the North Lakeland Kiwanis Club.
Good afternoon. Okay. This officer began his career in public safety with Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission in 2011 as an officer in South Florida. He has worked diligently to protect Florida's natural resources while ensuring its stakeholders are safe through proactive measures. This officer has become a leader inside the agency for his knowledge, hard work, and dedication. He is constantly mentoring new officers to ensure their success. He is currently working to become an officer specialist. This officer is also a member of the Florida National Guard Reserves. The 2019 Distinguished Service Award goes to Officer Jeremy DeWeese, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. This officer has been an officer with Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission for only 2 years. Within those 2 years, this officer has made a big impact in his patrol zone. This officer proves himself not only with words, but by his actions. He is one of those officers who doesn't talk much and does not brag about his past accomplishments as a U.S. Marine, as a firefighter, and as a Florida Wildlife Commission dispatcher. During this past year, this officer has organized many targeted enforcement activities, TEAs, details. These details targeted summer holiday boaters under the influence enforcement, turkey hunting, and night hunting trespass violations. His TEAs have resulted in over a dozen misdemeanor charges and 2 felony charges. This officer has been instrumental in seizing several guns that were used during illegal night hunting violations. During one case in particular, this officer was on foot patrol in an orange grove near a rural road when he observed a vehicle slowly drive by his location. The vehicle stopped in the middle of the road and then slowly backed up. As the vehicle came to a stop, a spotlight started to shine out of the driver's side window. This officer then saw a rifle stick out of the driver's window and then heard the driver take a shot toward an adjacent orange grove. This officer ran back to his vehicle and was able to stop the vehicle shortly after the shot was taken. The driver admitted to shooting a rifle, but had thrown the rifle out of the window before he was stopped by this officer. He was able to locate the rifle in the dark. The driver was arrested for felony trespass by projectile, hunting off the roadway, and driving with a suspended license. This is just one example of the hard work and dedication that this officer has shown in his time employed with the Florida Wildlife Conservation Commission. He is well liked by his peers, and he is looked up as a level-headed officer that always has a solution for whatever situation he comes across. The 2019 Public Safety Officer of the Year Award goes to Officer Sean Carr, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
Our next presentation will be with Matt Mucci from Lakeland South Rotary Club.
On June 6, 2018, a call was dispatched as a pinned victim. By the end of this call, there were 4 trauma alerts called, within 3 of 4 being pediatric trauma alerts. The use of resources that this call generated was a total of 10 Polk County Fire Rescue units and 3 outside agency transport units. This call was marked under control within 55 minutes of the first unit arriving on scene, and with the liftoff of the last helicopter from the scene, all patients having been transported. Mitigating a call with an entrapped victim that is deemed a trauma alert is not unordinary for a firefighter, and the call specifics that were given variables is not what is generating this nomination. The response of the individuals to this scene was exemplary. The actions displayed on this incident were deliberate and precise movements being carried out by professionals, with all members operating with patient care as their top priority. It should be noted that without these crews performing in that way that they did, this call would have a much graver outcome. These crews truly made a difference in the lives of an entire family that day. As the first unit on scene, this individual was faced with beginning rescue efforts on a heavily entrapped victim, while also being the initial tactical decision maker on the incident. It is difficult to pinpoint only one member of a team for this recognition, but in this case, this individual, as the initial incident commander, set the tone necessary for a successful outcome. The 2019 Distinguished Service Award goes to Captain Jamie Pines, Polk County Fire Rescue. On April 5th, 2018, Engine 2 and Medic 35 responded to a medical alarm. The father of a male patient had found his son in a car ineffectively breathing due to chemical ingestion. While en route to the location, this responder requested a special response and a battalion chief. Upon arrival on the scene, this responder established command and noticed that Medic 35 crew was attending to the patient near the car containing the chemical. This firefighter ordered all personnel and the victim be removed from near the car. This firefighter and partner packed out in breathing apparatus and bunker gear, began preparing to gross decontaminate the victim as instructed by the Special Operations Team. After decontamination, she assumed patient care and intubated the patient while still in full firefighter gear. She adapted to this extreme situation by not only intubating the patient in full gear, but also inverted her stethoscope to the back of her head to listen to the patient's lungs as they would not fit over her other gear. This responder adapted to the situation using techniques not taught in fire or paramedic school. These efforts were essential in the safety of her crew and the successful treatment of her patient. The 2019 Firefighter of the Year award goes to Captain Heather Coburn, Polk County Fire Rescue.
And now our next presentation is by Joel L. Ruthven with the Lakeland Rotary Club, home club right here.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of the Lakeland Rotary Club and all the clubs, we're really excited to have these awards every year and recognize all these contributors. As I start mine, I'm just going to flash back to a couple of weeks ago because this has to do with an organ donor. And at our Rotary Club recently, we had a discussion about an organ donor from my son and one of our club members. So this, I'm just giving you the upfront commercial here. On October 10th, 2018, Dr. Jerry Vidula, a transport surgeon in Orlando, Florida, relayed this information on the assistance provided by a Lakeland Fire Department paramedic. While Dr. Vidula was at the Lakeland Regional Hospital, occurring an organ, which happened to be a liver, for his patient, it was suddenly discovered that the vehicle which was to transport them from the hospital to the Lakeland International Airport was not available, and was not going to be available for some time. So we're stuck with the liver and no transport. During this time, he approached a Lakeland Fire Department firefighter that happened to be at Lakeland Regional Hospital. After hearing their story, this firefighter was prompt to assist and expeditiously plan for them to reach their flight. He personally transported Dr. Vidula and the liver to the airport and arranged for an escort from the gate to the flight so they could minimize the amount of time before this organ had to be transplanted. Dr. Vidula sincerely appreciated the help this firefighter provided and wanted to congratulate the Lakeland Fire Department on recruiting such a diligent and helpful individual to our department. It is individuals like this that renew and reinforce our faith in the systems that keep us safe. The 2019 Distinguished Service Award goes to Rescue Captain Jason Busby of the Lakeland Fire Department. Second presentation, on June the 6th, 2018, this Lakeland Fire Department firefighter paramedic came across a serious motor vehicle accident while he was off duty. The incident took place near the corner of Christina Boulevard and South Florida Avenue in unincorporated Polk County. The vehicle accident involved two vehicles and affected several children. In total, the severity of the crash led to 3 pediatric trauma alerts and 1 adult trauma alert, which required a helicopter to transport due to the extent of these injuries. Upon witnessing the crash, he immediately sprang into action to assist the victims. He began with assessing the pediatric patients in the back seat of one of the involved vehicles. He treated the patients while medically assessing the extent of their injuries. He directed civilian bystanders to stop by to assist, and a Polk County Sheriff's deputy on what to do. He showed them how to hold spinal immobilization and told them exactly what information to relay to the emergency dispatcher so that the right people and the right equipment could be sent to deal with an accident as severe as this one. He comforted the scared children and the concerned father who could only focus on the condition of his children. He moved from patient to patient to patient in the minutes it took on-duty emergency responders to arrive. When the Polk County Fire Rescue engines and ambulances and crews arrived, he briefed them on the situation, the status of the patients, and continued helping until the last patient was transported away. In a commendation letter written by the Polk County Fire Rescue Battalion Chief, it was reported that because of this report given to the 911 operators, he was able to place several helicopters on standby, respond with 2 more engines and a heavy rescue truck. This alone accelerated the time of extricating the victims and flying them to the closest pediatric trauma center. The paramedic did not stop there. He continued to be a major help with the extrication and rendering of medical attention to all the patients. The 2019 Firefighter of the Year award goes to driver engineer Harvey Reese of the Lakeland Fire Department.
Our next presenter is Nanette Clark with Citrus Center Kiwanis Club.
Good afternoon, everybody. On April 4th, 2018, calls were received by the Polk County Sheriff's Office about a residence that was on fire at 704 West Daughtry Road, Lakeland. Deputies responded immediately. Once they arrived on the scene, they were notified by witnesses the individual who had set the home on fire was in the backyard. Upon circling into the backyard, both deputies observed the suspect entering back into the home where the fire was. He came to the door of the residence, which was engulfed in flames, drinking a beer, and subsequently retreated back into the burning building despite their pleas at the residence. Disregarding their own safety, both deputies entered the residence where they found him unconscious inside. They picked him up and ultimately saved his life exiting the residence that was on fire. Once outside, one of the deputies heard the cries from one of the bystanders that her dog was inside the residence. Further placing his own mortality at risk to serve the citizens of Polk County, one of the deputies re-entered the building and rescued the puppy and returned it to its owner. These individuals took an oath to serve and protect when they were sworn in. These 2 deputies exhibited the devotion they swore to that day to both the agency and this county by placing their own lives at risk to save the life of not only another human being, but also a puppy. As a result of their actions, not only did they save the suspect's life, but they also made it possible that he stand trial to answer for the crimes he committed. The 2019 Distinguished Service Award goes to the Deputy Aaron Mata and Deputy Mark Potier, Polk County Sheriff's Office. On January 20th, 2018, 3 members of the Polk County Sheriff's Office responded to an incident of domestic violence at 4235 Cottage Hill Street in Lake Wales. The victims in this incident were the suspect's wife of 25 years and his 19-year-old daughter. The 2 victims described a violent night, hit with pool sticks, punched, headbutted, choked, pepper sprayed in the face, and the suspect even attempted to stab them with an extra-large safety pin. The suspect then armed himself with a firearm and tried to load it, but the victims wrestled it away from him, undoubtedly saving their own lives. While law enforcement was racing to the scene, the victims were forced to run from the house in order to get away from the suspect. The suspect fled the scene and was not located when the law enforcement arrived at the scene. The 2 victims were taken to a local hospital to tend to their injuries. Deputies remained at the incident location while detectives continued the criminal investigation at the hospital. Once the victims were released from the hospital, they, along with the detectives, joined the deputies at the residence. A total of 4 civilians, including the 2 victims, were present with the Sheriff's Office members at the incident location. A short time later, a family member spotted the suspect attempting to return to the residence through the woods and alerted the deputies at the scene. As the suspect approached, it was determined that he was armed with multiple long-barreled firearms. Immediate and decisive action was taken in confronting the armed threat, as well as safeguarding the civilians that were in the line of fire. Even after providing the suspect the opportunity to put his weapons down, the suspect ignored the deputies and were unable to stop the threat from advancing towards the residence, which immediately led to his demise. Despite great risk to the personal safety of the deputies, their professional judgment during this immediate life-threatening incident saved the lives of the suspect's family members and the other deputies at the scene. The 2019 Public Safety Officer of the Year award goes to Detective Joshua Anderson, Detective Daryl Hartgraves, and Deputy Scott Stevens, Polk County Sheriff's Office.
And our final presentation will be made by Bill Jakes with the Dixieland Lions Club.
Reverend clergy, Mr. Mayor, Your Honor, commissioners, recipients of this important day, ladies and gentlemen, the Dixieland Lions Club of Lakeland, Florida is proud to be part of an organization like this and is pleased to present to you recipients of the Police Department's Award for Distinguished Service. On October 26, 2018, a local lumber supply company was the victim of a burglary. The suspects in this case got away with 3 semi-trailers, valued at over $100,000. The 3 vehicles were driven to an alternate location, raised up and placed on blocks, had the tires and wheels removed. One of the trucks had its hood cut off and stolen. This officer reached out to several surrounding agencies who had been plagued by similar crimes. The list of agencies include the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, Groveland Police Department, Orlando Police Department, and the Polk County Sheriff's Office. This officer worked alongside these agencies for several months building his case and strengthening theirs. On November 6th, this officer completed and executed a search warrant with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office on the home located in Kissimmee, Florida. The search warrant resulted in the recovery of the front flip of the semi that was stolen, from the original incident. Based on the information stated, this officer secured arrest warrants. The arrest warrants were served in December 2018. This officer's interview with one of the suspects resulted in the clearance of 3 other Lakeland Police Department cases. This organization theft ring was responsible for approximately $600,000 of stolen property across Central Florida. This officer's efforts in the case were pivotal in bringing these suspects to face trial and answer for their crimes. This officer showed great teamwork within LPD, as well as between agencies scattered throughout Central Florida. We appreciate this officer's professionalism, dedication to duty, and a willingness to follow through on tough cases. We commend him for his extraordinary work in the Criminal Investigation Section. The 2019 Distinguished Service Award goes to Detective David Bell, Lakeland Police Department. On July 11th, 2018, at approximately 1900 hours, this officer received dispatch information regarding an armed carjacking which occurred in the 1300 block of East Lime Street. At approximately 20 minutes of 1 while patrolling in the area of Griffin Road, this officer located a vehicle matching the description of the vehicle's victim taken during the armed hijacking incident. The officer calmly relayed his position, description of the vehicle, and tag information. As this officer followed the suspect vehicle, the driver became aware of the officer's presence and began to accelerate away. Realizing that the vehicle was fleeing, this officer activated his emergency lights to stop the vehicle, which had negative effects. After a short vehicle pursuit, the suspect vehicle was driven into a vacant field, rendering it disabled. Then, observing the suspect exit the vehicle and flee on foot, this officer's training and experience took over, following the suspect in the patrol vehicle. After a short distance, the officer then gave chase on foot, attempting to utilize his taser to subdue the suspect with negative effects. The suspect then made the decision to produce and utilize a handgun towards the officer, resulting in the officer being struck by multiple projectiles. This officer quickly reacted by utilizing his department issues handgun during the lethal force situation. During this incident, this officer relied on his training to return fire, seek cover, and conduct a magazine exchange. This officer's actions ultimately overpowered the suspect, which caused the suspect to drop his weapon and surrender. The 2019 Public Safety Officer of the Year award goes to Alec Rethwich, Lakeland Police Department.
So how about one more round of applause for all of our workers? Well, as I wrap things up, I'd like to also make certain that I notice our sponsors whose names and logos have been scrolling throughout. They are very helpful in putting this event together. So thank you to all the sponsors for this year's event. And then I'm the head. You guys see me up here talking and all that kind of stuff, but I also wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the others that are on the committee for the President's Roundtable. So in the back, Dennis Hollingsworth, our secretary. Bob Swan, treasurer, who I believe 35 years Bob's been doing this. Matt Brown, Lakeland Fire Department event coordinator. And Brock Self, event coordinator emeritus. So again, congratulations to all, and thank you to everybody for your dedication on the job. My final little notes are, please visit our website at lakelandheroes.org and like us on Facebook at Lakeland Heroes. Thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing you next year for the 52nd or 52nd annual President's Roundtable. Sorry, I'm thinking Pancake Festival. 52nd Public Safety Awards. Thank you.